On September 12, 2025, the sound of gunfire once again echoed through the streets of the Lins complex in Rio de Janeiro's North Zone, turning what should be a residential area into an urban battlefield. The joint operation carried out by the Special Police Operations Battalion, BOPE, and the Special Resources Coordination, CORE, resulted in the deaths of 2 suspects and laid bare a reality that haunts millions of Rio residents, living in a city where around 18.2% of the metropolitan area's inhabited urban territory is under the control of an armed group.
Ai, meu Deus! Tá muito barulho!
The scene that unfolded in the Lins complex is a microscopic portrait of a metropolis besieged by organized crime. When the clashes began, after armed criminals opened fire on elite police units, urban life simply came to a standstill. 4 municipal schools suspended classes, 3 health centers canceled home visits, and desperate drivers even drove against traffic to escape the conflict zone. A bus on Route 232 was hijacked and used as a barricade, a tactic that has sadly become all too common in Rio's slums. This scene is a faithful portrait of how organized crime operates and imposes its dominance in Rio de Janeiro. The gate, which could easily be mistaken for the entrance to a condominium in a poor neighborhood, in reality marks the guard post of criminals. It is proof of the audacity and freedom that the Brazilian state has handed over to crime. In these areas, criminals charge fees on virtually everything imaginable, and residents are left at the mercy of services controlled by the very same crime groups under the threat of death if they do not comply. This means that if you live in a favela, you can only have the internet provided by the criminals, buy the gas they distribute, and submit to all the rules they impose. The reach of this power is not limited to the communities. It extends even to the promenades of Copacabana and several other Rio beaches, where crime controls the sale of something as simple as coconut water. The operation targeted a gang specialized in vehicle theft, operating in Grande Mayor and Barra da Tijuca, a clear demonstration that organized crime in Rio de Janeiro is not limited to favelas, but expands its activities into affluent and middle-class neighborhoods. During the action, authorities seized 2 rifles, 2 pistols, magazines, walkie-talkies, camouflage clothing, holsters, bags, and drugs yet to be quantified, a veritable arsenal of war. The military police of Rio de Janeiro is one of the best trained police forces in the world. The city has been living in an urban conflict for decades, and these officers are constantly confronting criminals. The United States even considered classifying the Comando Vermelho and the PCC, First Capital Command, the two largest criminal organizations in Brazil, as terrorist organizations, but President Lula blocked this classification. There is strong evidence that Lula's leftist government benefits from and, in a certain way, is involved with this criminal network. To grasp the scale of Rio de Janeiro's tragedy of violence, it is necessary to make comparisons that may sound absurd, but expose the brutal reality of the numbers. Between 2011 and 2015, Brazil recorded more violent deaths than Syria, a country in the midst of civil war, during the same period. There were 139 cases of intentional homicide, robbery followed by death, and bodily injury resulting in death in Brazil, compared with the estimated number of deaths in the Syrian war.
Mantém aqui, César, mantém aqui, vai estar muito.
The Linz complex, the site of the operation, carries a history of violence spanning decades. The area has been the scene of traumatic incidents, such as the case of Navy Captain and Dr. Giselle Mendes de Souza e Melo, who was shot in the head inside Marcílio Dias Hospital near the complex late last year. Melo underwent surgery but ultimately did not survive her injuries. When focusing specifically on Rio de Janeiro, the comparison becomes even more shocking. In 2016, more than 61,000 people were victims of homicide in Brazil, while in Syria that number was under 50,000 in the same period. Between 2004 and 2007, 147,343 people were killed by firearms in Brazil. In the same time frame, Iraq, Sudan, and Afghanistan together registered 101,400 deaths, a difference of nearly 50% more in Brazil. To put this in perspective, at least 3,298 civilians died in Iraq in 2017 during the war against the Islamic State, while the UN estimates between 32,000 and 60,000 Afghan civilians were killed during the entire war in Afghanistan. In Rio de Janeiro alone, between January and July of 2019, 2,392 homicides were recorded, an average of 341 murders per month. A pace that, if projected for the whole year, would surpass the annual death toll of several internationally recognized armed conflicts.
E prenderam, seguraram. Deixa eles olharem a casa aí, Deixa eles olharem a casa, qualquer coisa.
Oi? Pega a frente, ó.
If you want to see more real police chases, crime scenes, and high-stakes operations from Brazil, hit that subscribe button and join us.